Hi, I'm Professor Glenn Parry from the University of Surrey, part of the business school there. I'm talking about perspectives on good in blockchain for good. In this talk, I'll be going through Perspectives on Good in Blockchain for Good, a paper published in Frontiers in Blockchain. A digital economy giving individuals control over their own data could challenge the current paradigm of these large digital firms. But these idea of challenging establishments with digital technology comes with this health warning, because the internet itself was supposed to subvert the economy, bringing consumers and firms closer together. Now, I'm currently editing Blockchain for Good, the journal in Frontiers, and of the many papers we've had submitted, and we've published 50 to date, only 6 really talk about what good is, really consider and critique good as a construct. What does value mean? What does good mean? And what does good mean here in the particular use? I think engaging in a deeper ontological, epistemological consideration of, what is good for my business, or, in the case I'm studying, how is it created with individuals, with organization and society? Because without such detailed consideration, this new distributed digital economy may just duplicate the current paradigm, the dominant actors. There may be different dominant actors, but it'll all be the same old, same old. There's been quite a few misleading headlines that really overplay what blockchain can do. I mean, talking about solving world hunger or making poverty obsolete, changing the future of healthcare, or even saving the world is perhaps overstating what we can do. But blockchain does have a lot of strengths. It may be the seed for change, but blockchains and distributed ledgers are embedded in systems that may lead to these paradigm shifts. Distributed ledger technologies are part of broader socio-technical systems, and really we need transdisciplinary perspectives to integrate knowledge from a number of different areas to really understand and potentially unlock the potential of distributed ledger technology. So I want people to consider what is good. Now we can go back to Plato, who really thought about what good meant, and he said, well, maybe good and value, the measure of goodness, needs to be considered in 2 ways. The first is some things are good for their own sake. They have intrinsic value. Other things are extrinsically good. When you use them, they lead to good things. Now, Moore suggested that good must always be extrinsic, because he said that people's perspective changes. So you look at something and you decide if it's good. It's a perspective thing. But there's a question here. If you don't perceive you are good, could you not still be good? So this is why most philosophers hold to the idea that goodness can somehow be intrinsic. Now, Frank Kenner, he looked at all the different ways of value and goodness manifested, and he said, well, there's a few things that were intrinsically good: truth, knowledge, beauty, aesthetic, freedom, peace. But you can see we might find goodness in things. And when we're thinking about a business, we've really got to think, what does good mean? Is it embedded in what we're doing, or does what we do lead to the creation of something that's good? If we take an ecosystem view of the value created, here's our model that we can consider, where at the lowest level we have the micro actor to actor, person to person, or machine to machine, however it plays out, interactions. Then the middle level, the socio-technical system, might be the business to business level, and at the highest level, the cultural, the historic, the governmental, the societal level. And these are different lenses where you can think, right, where is value being created? But obviously value created at one level maybe creates value or impacts on value at another. So what does good mean in the context of the particular distributed ledger technology you're considering? How is it good, and where is value created and for whom? And where in the ecosystem are we, and where does value therefore move to and from? And are the data needs balanced against individual or governance needs? DLT is presented as the trust engine or trustless technology, which is really an overstatement, as any services require the user to trust the system. You give authority to algorithms within DLT to provide information that's considered to be true. But at some point, organizations must agree on the algorithms and maintain that blockchain, so it's still underpinned by institutions in some way. If that institutional governance is decentralized, who has the design authority? That's particularly challenging if individuals or institutions are anonymous. So how do you reach this agreement? Because otherwise, if you think you've created a perfect system, it never needs to change. This isn't a problem, but I don't think that's possible. Privacy itself is control over provision of access to personal information. It's not denying access to you or your information. It's just controlling who has access. Decentralization provides greater privacy only if individuals get control over access to their information, their personal data. But personal data on a blockchain, well, Article 17 of GDPR has this: an individual has the right to be forgotten. So if you put any personal information on a blockchain, you've just written something onto this immutable list. And how can an immutable list forget? How do you edit a blockchain? This is an existential threat to any particular blockchain. DLT is not really a storage technology, but it underwrites the data in integrity and promotes trust. That's what it's really good for. So our paper asks you really to explore how you conceptualize value and what it means to achieve good in decentralized digital economies. Ideally, researchers and businesses should examine the socio-technical system. How does the technology embed and engage with people, with communities, with government and regulations? Where's value created for whom, and how does it transfer between those things, with considering issues of trust and privacy? And we really need people to be transdisciplinary, able to work outside their own specialist discipline to look at the technical and the social questions that need to be asked if we're going to achieve some form of sustainable, fair and prosperous digital economy. Hopefully this is an interesting paper and you'll be able to read it and engage it, and obviously do get in contact with us.